Are you a writer whose mind is a whirlwind of creativity and distraction? Hello, and welcome to Writing While Distracted, the writing podcast that helps you transform your scattered thoughts into literary brilliance. I'm your host, Brenda Murphy, a best-selling award-winning author and your NeuroSpicy writing coach. For writers of all kinds, but particularly those dealing with distraction and mental health issues, on this podcast you will hear positive advice for staying focused amidst the chaos of your mind, along with strategies to help you find your story's beginning and use your strengths to get to the end of your novel. Here, creativity thrives in the midst of chaos. Stay tuned as I discuss how to restart a writing project after a long break. How do you get back to writing after a long break? I've had to take a break from the blog and my current work in progress because I had 2 sets of edits that came in and I had to attend to those edits. It's going to be at least another 3 weeks before I can get back to it. This is not the first time I've had to take a long break from working on writing projects because of project conflicts, family events, illness, caregiving, and more often than I would like to admit, my own state of mind. This is the system that's worked for me, and I hope this series of steps will work for you to help you get back to work on your writing project when you've had to put your story aside for a while. The most important part of getting back to work is letting go of the negative energy and shame that many NeuroSpicy folks experience when we have abandoned a writing project because of life. We fear we will never start writing again. We add it to a list of abandoned projects and shut the door on our dreams. But it doesn't have to be that way. It is possible to take a break from writing and return to our practice and complete what we started. And although there are a bunch of writing coaches and folks that will tell you that you need to write every day to be a writer, that, like so much writing advice, often comes from folks who are neurologically intact and have others that take care of all the things in their lives so that writing is all they have to worry about. If you are someone who has care of children, parents, and others, work a job or two, and has a home to care for, then writing every day is often not an option. And if you have mental health struggles, there are times you don't have the bandwidth to just plow ahead with your writing. The key to finishing a writing project is consistency when you can manage it, and to not give up after having to take a break. Not all writing breaks are bad. Sometimes you need to take a break from writing because you've written yourself into a corner, or you're bored with your story, or you need to take a mental health break. You'll be less stressed about writing if you know there are ways to find your way back into the story. So trust yourself and get back to work. Let go of the shame and writing advice that does not fit because of who you are in your life situation. Writing is a marathon and not a sprint, and taking a break to rest, to heal your mind, or to take care of all the things that can become more of a priority is not the end of your writing career. There is no reason to give up after a long break. The words are still there. Go get them. There have been times I haven't written at all because of lack of focus. Mental chatter and distraction so bad, even looking at my computer was a no-go. Do not beat yourself up about your writing break. Give yourself credit for starting again. The hardest part of restarting a writing project is to pick up the threads of your story and get back into the mindset you had when you started your project. If you are outline averse, or are someone who writes without an outline at all, also known as a pantser, or if you have a loose outline and feel your way through a story as a discovery draft writer, it can be doubly hard. For most folks with nonlinear thinking, working without a detailed outline is their preferred way to work, which also means coming back from a break can be extra frustrating. The following 2 techniques will work well for people who don't work from an outline, for those who do work with a loose outline, and for those who work with a detailed outline but their characters have gone off script. They will also work if you find yourself wandering around in your manuscript, frustrated and unsure where your story is going because you've lost the initial thread, because your story has changed direction, and now you have no idea what story you intended to write, nor what the point of your story is. When you've wandered into the weeds, one of the first things you can do when you come back to something after not having written or worked on it for weeks or months is to go back and read through your pre-writing. Settle in with a beverage of your choice and go back through your story notes, character worksheets, mood boards, setting descriptions, notebook scribbles, anything you created before you started writing your project to help you remember why you started the story to begin with. The second part, after you've finished reading all the pre-writing, is to take a break and then read through your manuscript. Do not edit as you go, just read through what you've written, and while you are reading, create a reverse outline from that document. What the heck is a reverse outline, you ask? It is an outline based on what you've written versus an outline you create before you write. It can be as detailed or as sketchy as you want, but create it. It is a tool I use most often if I am unsure of my story structure, or if my plot points will work, or if they need to be rearranged, or if anything is off with my story. A simple reverse outline is one sentence that describes the scene, the setting, the characters, and what the point of the scene is. It is a handy way when you are editing to tell if a scene belongs or if it detracts from the story. A reverse outline offers an opportunity to compare the scenes you've written with what your initial plan for the story was if you had one. It also serves as a reminder of what you've already accomplished and may spark new ideas if you've lost the thread of your story. For folks who work without an outline to begin with, reverse outlining can save you many hours of frustration and reading, trying to figure out where the heck you are in your story and what you need to write to finish it. If, when you took a break, you had just started writing the project and had to walk away for a bit, and you've only written a chapter or two, just read those couple of chapters to get a feel for your story. Sometimes reading the previous chapter or the previous couple of pages won't work because you're not working from a detailed outline. If, like me, you work from a scene list, reverse outlining demonstrates where I've gone off script because I can compare the two. You can do the same thing even if you're just working from story notes or some notes you sketched on the back of a napkin. The important thing is to get the idea of where you are in your story and why you started writing it. If you don't want to invest the time rereading your notes and manuscript to create a reverse outline, the next easiest but slightly terrifying way to begin again is to simply start writing. Get yourself hyped up, sit down at your desk, open the document or your dictation app or your notebook or legal pad or however you write, and just start again. Embrace the attitude that you can fix any problems with your story in revisions, which is the truth, and first drafts are where you can get all of your story out and worry about fixing it later. It will work, and it does work, but you should plan on taking a bit more time in revisions to make sure you've fixed any plot holes and to make sure your story structure is sound. Sometimes people take breaks from current writing projects because of what I call shiny new idea syndrome. Shiny new idea syndrome occurs most often when you get to the hard part of the manuscript and you're like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I don't know where I'm going. I'm in the soggy middle. And why did I ever start this book? I hate it. So you put your manuscript aside and you start working on the next shiny story idea. And the hard truth about this is that the next shiny story idea will also get to a hard, sticky part. My recommendation to you is if you stopped writing something because it was hard to write, go ahead and put it aside for a while and take that break. Use it to refuel yourself, to fill your creative well so you can get your brain back to where you can work. But for the love of all that is good, do not start writing something new. It's fine to make notes or sketch some ideas down or collect your ideas for the next story in the Shiny New Thing notebook if you've got one of those. I have a notebook so I can write down all those ideas because those ideas call to me like sirens. And in order to keep myself from crashing on the rocks of unfinished works, I promise myself I will start the new shiny thing once I'm finished my current project. My best advice to you is if you can help it at all, do not quit in the middle of a project. To be clear, a pause in your writing to attend to other writing business or life business or mental health business is not the same as abandoning a project. But another hard truth of writing a novel is that it does not get easier as you write. In fact, as you get towards the end of your story and start trying to work out all the loose plot threads and tie character arcs together, it can be exhausting. But it is also exhilarating when you get to those magic words, the end. Finishing a first draft is a major achievement. Celebrate it. You have accomplished what so many say they want to do, and yet they don't do it. Out of all the people who start writing a book, current estimates are only that about half of those make it to the halfway point. of their novel. And of those who make it that far, only about half of those will finish their manuscript. So keep going. Be one of the ones who finish. Even if you decide when you've finished your manuscript that you don't like it and you consign it to the hard drive of oblivion, or burn it or shred it, you will still have accomplished something many folks only dream of. Writing is not easy. Giving people access to your imaginary friends and their world, exposing your creativity and art can be excruciating. More so if you're writing difficult scenes or about difficult topics, or if you're in the middle of torturing your characters so they appreciate their happy endings. All of that can be really hard to write, but don't quit. Take a break when you need to, and when you can, come back to your project. Use a reverse outline to find your way back to where you were. Or just start again. That's fine too. A final word about why folks quit on their manuscripts. Folks quit all the time because they give up, decide it's not worth it, and then they beat themselves up about their decision. Maybe you are one of those people who have abandoned a writing project, or maybe you have unfinished manuscripts lurking on your computer hard drive, or you have notebooks full of half-written stories and you constantly berate yourself for not writing. Stop. Just stop. It is not productive, and it is a sure way to get yourself so balled up you can't do anything but think about the fact that you're not writing. Let go of the shame and disappointment you have in yourself. Stop judging yourself for not writing. Get out your preferred way to write, or dictate. Set a timer for 15 minutes and just write. Just start again. There's no rule that says you have to write every day to be a writer, contrary to popular advice. If you can only write on your days off because your job is draining mentally and physically, that's fine. If you can only write when you have childcare or elder care so you can focus without worrying that folks you have care of are all right, that's fine too. My point here is to not give up and toss the whole idea of writing out the window because you took time off to take care of other things in your life. Give yourself grace and get back to writing. There are successful writers out there who take 10 years to produce a book. Do not set yourself up for failure thinking you need to be a speed writer and produce a book in 4 months. Give yourself time. Don't rush, and see breaks as an opportunity to come back to your work with more insights and experiences to bring to your narrative. I want to address another reason some writers have taken a break from writing. With the rise of AI, artificial intelligence, and all the buzz, I have seen so many folks, particularly beginner writers, asking if being a writer is still worth it. They question their art, their ideas, and struggle with the will to write because of all the AI noise. I can't tell you if it's worth it for you or not. And for you to answer that question, you will have to know your why. Why do you write? What are the reasons you are compelled to string words together and tell stories? Take some time to think about it. Write it down or record a video of it so that you can read it or play it back to yourself when you're having one of those days that make you question your choice to write. Having a clear idea of why you write is the best way to get yourself to write, and it is a great way to hype yourself up to get back to writing. Some folks will question if writing is a choice. For some people, like myself, writing is a compulsion, and I would do it even if it were illegal. For others, it is a conscious choice or part of their job expectations. And no matter where you fall on the spectrum of folks who write, knowing why you do it will help you find your way back to writing again after a break. Even with the advent and rise of all the AI chat programs that will write stories for you from a few prompts, and people bragging that they wrote a book with AI with very little effort, nothing will ever beat human creativity. And as NeuroSpicy folks, I believe we are blessed with extra creativity. No matter how much regurgitated material AI programs are fed, any stories created will never be able to be original, just rehashed and reconfigured input. And as folks become tired of the obviously AI-generated stories, originality will become even more sought after. So please don't quit or give up or abandon your writing because you think human storytellers are or will become obsolete. Nothing is ever going to beat homegrown, honest-to-goodness human creation, because no matter how well we teach the machines, They will never be truly us. Regurgitated, rehashed content is not the same as original human stories. And people will tell you there are no new stories. And while that may be true on a superficial level, no one else out there can tell a story the way you would tell a story. So please don't quit for good. Give yourself a break if you need one. Figure out or revisit your why. Be kind to yourself and others always. And when you get back to your project, either jump right back in and worry about fixing it later, or wade in slowly with a reverse outline. Be brave. Be brave and have confidence you will finish your writing project. I believe in you. So until the next podcast, keep writing. Thanks for tuning in to Writing While Distracted, where we navigate the winding roads of creativity amidst the chaos of distraction. If you have enjoyed this podcast and found it useful, please leave a review. It really helps get the podcast in front of more folks. If you know others who would benefit from the podcast, please share it and tag me. Remember, in the dance between focus and diversion, every stumble is a step closer to mastering the art of writing. Join us next time as we continue to unravel the mysteries of the writer's mind. Until then, keep writing, keep wandering, and embrace the distractions that fuel your creativity. Stay tuned, stay inspired.